quite a bit.
So basically what you do is you hop around on one leg if you're the attacker. Oh, hey everybody, I'm just explaining how the Squid Game is being played. And at the end of the video, we're also going to draw some squids. And with that, the title is officially not clickbait anymore. Now let's talk about drawing. And at the end of the video, we will... Put it back up. So someone on my last stream commented for me to make a video about line confidence. And I thought that's actually worth it because I get a lot of questions about line weight and how to draw better lines and how to improve people's lines. So I thought, let's jump into it with this video. All right, so the main thing that I see happening is that people just keep on going over and over their lines. So if you had a circle like this, new people tend to just keep on drawing lines. New people, new to drawing, I mean. And then you just keep going over it, and then you have a million little starts and stops. This is very typical. Or if you have a long line, instead of just putting a line down, they usually go, okay, so this is sort of straight. I want to make sure that it's going to be straight, so I'm going to make a lot of short lines. And you get very ugly lines that have these sort of edges to them. Like you can also draw a box instead of what I do to just put the box down very quickly. People tend to, okay, so this is one line of it, like this would be the bottom. I want to make sure that it's straight, so I make short, small lines. Then this would be one of the edges. This would be another edge, like maybe not even in 3D, just in 2D. And then you have another edge here and another edge there. And then let's just finish it off very nicely there. And then we have a very ugly, of course I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, this is what I see a lot. And something you need to get rid of is this. Like, this is horrible. You really need to get used to just put that line down and draw that nice straight line. Obviously it's not going to be as nice, as straight as you can see here. It's going to take some work, but I just want to go back and show you some drawings from my old times. So these are all my drawings around 2005-ish era. I was still very bad, so you may laugh, make fun of it. As you can see, Venom has absolutely zero anatomy. That didn't get better, actually, human anatomy. But what I want to show you, they're relatively straight, intentioned lines. So I put down the line and I just draw it. I didn't try to do that many small lines. Obviously the buildings, I used a ruler to make the lines, but also in Spidey you can see a little bit of restarts, but I was trying to have, like, this line is one line, this line seems like one line, there's one line. We can also go to this robot. This line is clearly, so 3 lines, one here, 1, 2, 1 there, but you can also see these lines. I made sure to just draw one nice straight line here. Here you can see it a little bit. This is already not nice. 1 stops, 2 stops, 3 stop, and there's another stop there until I get there. So with the curves, I was insecure. With the straighter ones, like this is relatively until here. Here I start a new one. So you can see that, yeah, fingers are nicer. I like this is clearly one line, one line, one line. And then to, like, even something very organic, you can see that I don't do, here you can see 1, and the rest is relatively straight. Same with the tree, 1 line. So in general, I don't like to be super nice and rounded. I do like my straight lines with edges. You can see that a little bit in my style. But still, I tried already back 2005. That was 13 years? I don't know how many years. So 16 years ago, something like that. And I already tried to have the lines as straight as possible and not overlaying. Yeah, this is a horrible comic. Don't worry about it. Here you can see again with the curve. I had a little bit of issues with making the curve nice, but with a cigarette piece or stud, whatever it's called, and also a little bit here with the fork, I try to keep the lines as uniform as possible. Okay, so what can we do about this? Well, my favorite advice, first and foremost, grab a fine liner, because that's just going to be one dark line. You can't erase, you can't fix it. Once you make a mistake, it's there and you have to live with it. And this is I'm really not going to go too deep into this because I talked about this in my industrial design fundamentals videos. So check those out as well. But it's all about just getting used to these straight lines. So what I recommend, you put one dot down, another dot down, and then just try to connect them. And you connect them by hovering once, twice over it, and then make the connection. It doesn't matter if it doesn't connect precisely. What's important is that you start outside of the dot and you finish outside of the dot. So you put down two more, try to connect them in the air, connect a couple of more times until you feel confident. All right, so there we have our lines, and this is not just about drawing straight lines. No, the important part is also that we unlearn drawing from the wrist. So when you grow up, you usually, let me take a new paper. So we tend to draw a lot like this. I do something like this. I do most of my lines from my wrist, and we're trying to get rid of that habit. What I want you to do is to use your whole arm, even from the shoulder if possible. So if I'm drawing a circle, I'm going to use my whole arm. If I'm doing something, I'm going to go from my elbow, which is also helpful because technically this is like, you can draw not a perfect circle, but it is a nice rotational form, so you can draw that. And since we're talking about rotational forms, circles are also important. Well, ellipses are important, and we have a whole video on it, so I'm not going to go into it. You can check it there as well. This whole hovering, putting the form down in your head, and then connecting on the paper. So this is important. Just like doing the lines, we need to do these sort of hovering circles as well, just to get our hand used to it. And you should repeat these exercises every day before you start drawing. Just fill one page with lines, one page with ellipses. One more thing, let me go back to lines, is that you can be left-handed, you can be right-handed. There's always going to be one way that is the most comfortable for you to draw a line. For me, this here feels the most comfortable. Like, this is the direction that I like the most. So that's why you see me a lot rotating the page, because if I want to draw a straight line that is parallel with the bottom of the page, I'm going to rotate it there to have it. It's still a little bit up there, but that's why you see me in many of my drawings rotate the page in so many ways, because I know if I want to draw a square, the easiest is going to be if my hand does nothing but this motion and then the paper below it moves to satisfy this motion. Now, I also say several times that it's also important to be able to draw from the different direction. Sometimes you just don't have this space, you can't rotate your paper. So it's important to also be able to draw in angles that are not comfortable. Away from you, towards you from a different angle. So all of these are good to be trained, but you're always going to have one specific direction that your hand likes most. And yeah, I would say sometimes lean into it. That's how you get the nicest lines. As I said, train the other directions as well, because you can't always rotate your paper, but that is how you are going to get your nicest lines. And one more thing before we move on is draw as big as possible. So I have an A4 paper, that's European standard, the A standards. But I would say the smallest you should be drawing is A4. Like, if you can, try also A3. But like A4 is just standard sketchbook size as well. Because you have the same thing, the bigger the paper that you're drawing on, the less likely that you're going to draw from your wrist. So on a big piece of paper, you can draw nice big lines, straight lines as well. If you have something smaller like an A5 or you have a tiny sketchbook, then you're going to do a lot more, nitty-bitty drawings from the wrist as well. And you do want to avoid that if possible. Okay, so now we sort of have down the techniques, what you want to do. The final thing that I want to share with you guys is sort of thinking about what you're going to do or pre-sketching somewhere else. Like, these are the two things that are really going to help you. If you look at some of the people who immediately start drawing masterpieces, with an ink pen or something and don't make mistakes. They think about it and they have the thing that they're drawing precisely in their head. So if that's not something you're good with, it's a good thing to get used to it. So I know I want to draw a squid in this case. So I know that it's going to have some sort of center line. So I sort of make a center shape for myself. And it has a left and a right side. You can already see I already double line just because I'm more comfortable with that. But I know this is sort of the wing area. I will add cutting lines just to make the shape a bit more understandable. Go over it again. And I just go over it. As you can see, even if it's wobbly, when I was younger, I was bothered by wobbly lines, but the older I grow, the more I actually like them. It's much nicer than having those crisscrossy lines that I talked about in the beginning. So stick with wobbly lines. If you don't want to draw immediately, if you're not there yet with your confidence, you can always make like a smaller sketch. Like I know, okay, so an octopus, or not an octopus, a squid looks something like this. It has that head, it has the two eyes here, and then it has the tentacles going down there. And then you sort of see what you do correctly and what's not correct, and you can try to replicate this bigger. Easy example to draw is my phone here. It's a nice and broken phone. But so we know that the phone has straight lines. So I'm just going to draw one straight line that I know that the next one has to be parallel. Well, not parallel, but they have to meet somewhere. Then another one below it. I'm going to rotate my paper now. I'm going to draw the edge here, the other edge there. I don't mind if the lines are intersecting at all. And I know it should be around this long, somewhere there. This is the dot. And then I just try to follow this line. I bring it up here, somewhere there. Yeah, this seems around correct. And now you can start doing the industrial design things that I talk about in different videos, rounding off the corners. And as you can see, I constantly rotate the paper so it's the most comfortable position. So it is in the most comfortable position for me. See, when I draw in small, it even happens with me that I use my wrist more often. So that's why I recommend draw as big as you can. And to nicely wrap up this episode, let me draw some squids so that the thumbnail is not just some shameless clickbait. But more importantly, I wanted to show everything I was talking about in action here at the end. Let us have a quick recap of the main things mentioned in the video. 1. You will feel like you already did this motion, so automatically you will feel more confident. But you will also build up short-term muscle memory, where your muscles will perform better when repeating an already familiar motion. 2. To boost your confidence, use fine liners and don't draw digitally, while trying to improve your line skills. Not being able to fix your mistakes, but having to live with them, will make you be more confident and more thorough with your lines. 3. Let's avoid RSI and wrist injuries and learn to draw from the shoulder. Your lines will be naturally nicer once you get used to this method. 4. Fits in with the previous point, the more room you have to draw, the less chance that you have to use wrist movements. Also, the bigger drawing surface gives you the opportunity for more detail in your drawings. 5. It is important to be able to draw straight lines from any direction, but there will always be a direction that suits you best. Take advantage of that direction. 6. Either take some time to think about what you want to draw in detail, or just make a rough pre-sketch exploring the subject you want to draw. Either way, you will end up with more confidence when drawing the actual subject. And you can see all these points in action in the drawing you are watching. While I could definitely draw on a bigger surface, I make sure to use my wrist as little as possible. I rotate and adjust the paper so I can get the best lines done. I drew the octopus from several angles and directions, so my drawing hand and also in general I am more comfortable and confident in drawing this subject. I'm also not stressed about delivering a final product here, so I don't mind if I make a mistake, I just draw over the line, I don't care. And most importantly, I am having fun. Never forget that drawing is supposed to be fun. And with that, we have arrived at the end of the video. I will leave you with this footage of me turning the squid into more and more of a robot, like I do with most everything. I do hope you enjoyed and learned something from this video. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below and I'll make sure to answer them. If you'd like to support me, there's links to my Gumroad and coffee in the description. And as always, the most important thing is that you kind people have a great time and see you in the next video. Bye bye! There she is.